So Apple's eventful start to 2026 continues with the introduction of their brand new Apple Creator Studio. Now this is a subscription service that bundles up all of Apple's creative applications like Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro, and a bunch of other ones that we're going to go over, but there's a bunch of questions that are going unanswered that I want to answer in this one. For example, if you already purchased Final Cut Pro years ago, what happens to it? Are there some exclusive features on the subscription versus the free applications? There's a lot of things that some people might not be happy about when it comes to this subscription service because, again, if you're like me, I'm getting subscription fatigue, and the last thing I want to do is pay more money every single month just to use a product that I already have. But without further ado, let's answer all those questions and get right into it. But now, before we continue, if you do enjoy videos like this one where we keep you up to date on all things Apple, consider subscribing to the channel and help us get to 1 million subscribers by the end of the year. But now let's talk about the subscription and what it entails. So let's start off with the basics here with this Creator Studio and understand exactly what Apple is doing here. So this is basically Apple's Creator Suite. It's aimed at video creators, designers, musicians, and anybody who uses Apple's creative applications on a daily basis as part of their workflow, whether it's just one of them, like a Final Cut Pro or Logic or even a GarageBand, to all of them and everything in between. And then in terms of a price breakdown, there is a 1-month free trial to use the entire Creator Studio, limitlessly. There's no kind of caps in a freemium version. It's just a 1-month free trial with everything unlocked. And then you go into a $12.99 a month subscription to be able to use all the different applications. There is also a yearly plan which saves you a little bit of money. It's $129 a year. And then if you are an educator or a student or somebody in the education space, it does drop down drastically to $299 a month or $30 for the year. At that price point, I'm a little bit less upset, but again, for the everyday user, it's going to be $130 a year. So what does this include? What do you get out of this? Because there's a bunch of different creative applications that would fall into that category that Apple creates. So first, for the Mac and the iPad, you get Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro, and Pixelmator Pro. The Pixelmator Pro is a nice little addition, especially on the iPad side. And then when it comes to Mac only, you do get the application Motion, Compressor, and then Main Stage. And then you get some upgrades to some applications that have been free for decades. For example, the iWork Suite, if you remember what the iWork Suite is, which is going to be Keynote, Pages, Numbers, and then the addition of Freeform that was added a few years ago, you get some premium and intelligent or Apple Intelligent-like features that are built into the subscription that you otherwise wouldn't get in the free version. We'll kind of talk about that in a little bit. And then the last little bonus, which is a nice thing to have here, is that you can actually do this as a family share and add up to 6 people in total. So if you do start to kind of divvy it up, technically each person could pay $2 to $3 a month to use the entire Apple Suite if your whole family is using it. But again, this is family sharing, so the person using it has to have your Apple ID as part of your family. But alright, now let's answer all those important questions that people want to know. For example, subscription versus buying the application outright. Can you still even do that? And then finally, versus free applications and what's exclusive to the subscription versus the non-subscription type of applications. So the free applications are still going to be free. So for example, the Keynote, Pages, Numbers, Freeform, those applications will still be free. They just get some exclusive features in the subscription. You can still create, edit, and collaborate normally, and they remain free for everyone, but we'll touch about those exclusive features in a second. Apple Creator Studio does add a few extra features inside the free applications. For example, you get some premium templates and themes, you get new intelligent tools. Again, let's see exactly how Gemini fixes this moving forward, because if it stays the way Apple Intelligence is, then these aren't really any good add-ons in my opinion, because you get the image creation tools, which probably works off of image playgrounds. You get new Keynote beta tools for generating a draft deck or generating presenter notes, as well as automatic slide cleanup and layout fixes. So these are all things that, PowerPoint has had for a while now, but again, PowerPoint is a paid service versus Keynote never was, or at least it hasn't been in a long time. But these features will now be part of a paid subscription. If you have the free version of the application, what I just mentioned will not be usable unless you pay the subscription service. And then Numbers also get some formula generation and then magic fill improvements as well. But it is nice to know that if you don't want to pay the subscription and if you just want individual applications, like if you just want a Final Cut Pro or you just want Compressor or you just want Pixelmator Pro, you can still go out, do a one-time purchase of these applications, and you'll be good to go. For example, Final Cut Pro is $300 for a one-time purchase. You can go into the Mac App Store, purchase it, and you'll have it for life. But this is where it gets a little bit wonky because Apple's trying to find and add value through subscription that you otherwise wouldn't get from a one-time purchase. For example, yes, you can get Pixelmator Pro on the Mac for $50 as a one-time purchase, but it doesn't include the purchase for the iPad Pro application or just the iPad application in general. And I know that Pixelmator, especially Pixelmator Pro on the iPad, people love to use that application. But now, if you do have the subscription, you'll get Pixelmator Pro for the Mac and for the iPad. So again, it's kind of this mental gymnastics, this kind of value, what's worth it or not. Do I pay the $12.99 a month for forever? Do I do the one-time purchase and then not deal with it ever again? It's just a matter of how you want to use this as an expense moving forward. And then Apple did add a bunch of new updates to their Mac applications like Final Cut Pro, like Motion, like Compressor with faster editing tools and things to make it a lot easier. But the good news is that anybody, whether you are using the Creator Studio subscription or you are getting it through a one-time purchase, everybody's going to get those updates. The only nuance here from the subscription service versus a one-time purchase is, like I mentioned, Pixelmator Pro does not include the iPad application in the one-time purchase versus it does include it in the subscription. And then you get all those kind of pro-level creator tools through the iWork suite, which is going to be the pages, the numbers, and the keynote. And what Creator Studio is kind of doing here is they're trying to help bring the iPad Pro more so into more professional workflows by giving them a little bit more in terms of what you get out of a one-time purchase versus a subscription service. Like I said, Pixelmator Pro is a great example of being able to use your iPad as a real working tool versus using it as kind of like a side and afterthought. And that's what Apple's trying to do. They're trying to bring the iPad in, and kudos to Apple because I've been trying to bring the iPad in to everybody's home in their workflow since 2018. But in my opinion, I'm just not a big fan of these subscription services to begin with. Like for instance, I'm trying to avoid subscriptions at all costs at this point in my life. I'm getting subscription fatigue. I'd rather own something physically or at least even own it digitally versus not owning it at all and then paying for it forever and kind of like leasing it basically, which is very unfortunate. But Apple is now bringing that and giving at least the option. I'm all about option and optionality and giving the consumer the choice to decide what they want to do. So at least they're not taking away the one-time purchase, but now they're making it a little bit more confusing as to what's worth it. You know, like where is that kind of point where, okay, the Creator Studio is going to be worth it? If you would rather do a one-time purchase of all the applications, which would probably be close to $1,000 or more, if you do that $12.99 a month or $129 a year, you'll get probably like 10 years or 8 years worth of those applications via the subscription service. But then at the end of it, you have nothing to show for it. So it just depends on what you want to do with your buying versus leasing or renting forever when it comes to these applications. What do you use the most? Where is that opportunity cost for you? It just makes it a little bit confusing. And then throw on top of that the exclusive features to the iWork suite as well as the Pixelmator Pro. Just makes it a little bit tougher for a decision when it comes to the end consumer, which I think is a net negative. But Apple's got to fill their pockets with more subscription services. This is basically the Apple One or the Apple Premier One for the Creator Suite and for the creator applications. But let me know in the comment down below what you think. Is this something that you are going to subscribe to? Are you a user of any of these applications? Are some of the exclusive features that you get with the subscription worth it for you? Again, for me, I'm going to avoid this like the plague. I don't use enough of these. For instance, I use LumaFusion on my iPad as my main video editing app. I use Affinity Photo to edit my thumbnails. I don't use anything when it comes to music creation and things like that. So this, even though it is for a creator, technically, this is not going to be for me. I'm not going to be downloading any of this. I'm not going to be paying for it. Maybe I'll do the free trial just to see what it's like on the iPad to show it off to you guys. But after that, I will not be getting this and I will not be using this. So let me know in the comment down below what you think. Will you be subscribing? Will you be purchasing more applications? Are you annoyed? Do you not like this? Do you like this? Let's talk about this in the comments down below. But if you made it to the end, leave a little dolphin. And if you want to watch more videos like this one, like talking about the Apple and Gemini deal, definitely click on one of these videos right here. But until next time, I'm Fernando. Peace. I'm just not a fan of these subscriptions, guys. I've had enough of them.